Hey, first of all, let me start with, if you're here from Reddit, please subscribe. I'm lonely. I like feeling like I matter. Please just subscribe to my channel so I don't want to kill myself as much. Come on. Come on, help a brother out. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about something kind of important that I think a lot of people miss that kind of goes on behind the scenes in Magic. And that is basically it's what you call disingenuous market noise. So here's the idea. I've always had this thought in the back of my head, and I've never really known how to exactly put it into words. But I've always been really good at Monopoly. I have a lot of strategies that I use for playing Monopoly. I was watching the game Grumps play Monopoly at work, and something kind of clicked for me as far as some of the market noise that we see in Magic. Right? So there's this idea. So someone like me, I make a certain amount of money each month. I have a certain amount of money. I have a certain amount of money that I can spend in Magic each month, right? Like, that amount of money that I have that I can spend in Magic is finite. There is X amount of money that I can spend on Magic each month, and for most people that's basically how it is. You know, you have somebody like Rudy from Alpha Investments who can drop millions in a month. Sure, most people aren't like that. So, we're basically, what happens is you have somebody who is somebody who is in a position where they have maybe not a massive amount of money to spend in Magic, but they have an amount of money where they can definitely make some noise. I'm talking basically like in the $5,000 to $10,000 range as far as what they'll spend in a month. So basically what these people do is, because they're in this position where they're really trying to grow their wealth, they have to be really careful and they really have to get the bang for their buck. They don't have these massive positions where they can really throw their weight around. Like, they really have to get good bang for their buck to actually get somewhere. So what they will do is they will try to basically drain other people of their money, if that makes sense. So where this kind of plays into the Monopoly analogy is whenever you're bidding on properties early in the game, you can actually go after, you can actually basically really in a really braced, kind of measured way, drive the prices of the auctions up to a certain point, and then just let the person you're playing against win the auction, basically. So you never actually have the intent of winning the auction or paying the asking price, but you're trying to convince somebody else that something that is worth $200 is worth $300, and then leaving them footing the bill for that. So what that does is, after your fellow investor has wasted this massive chunk of money on overpaying for a product, that leaves them with a bunch of wallet fatigue. So then they can't afford to go out and buy the next thing. So you look at something like what's going on right now. There were a bunch of people intentionally pretending like the Space Godzilla death's word we can't say would be this giant, massive thing, and it was worth $200 a card. And obviously, it's not. Most people understand, like, obviously that's the worst investment you could possibly make. The thing is a fucking uncommon, but I don't know why I played that land there. They were able to convince just an absolutely awe-strikingly amount of, is awe-strikingly? Awe-strikingly might not be quite the right word, but they managed to convince an absolute massive amount of people that this Space Godzilla was a viable investment, and it simply, like, could not be further from the truth. Like, it's like I can't even put into words like how bad of an investment getting into those cards at $200 a piece is. That's like seeing a set get spoiled for standard and like, oh, the EV of the standard box is $500. Let me pay, $400 a box at release. Like that is the level of ineptitude that that we're seeing with this situation. And what this leads to is then after all of these people waste all of their money on this product that is just completely awful and worthless and never going to get them anywhere, then the people who knew what they were doing and the people who are manipulating the market, then they use their money and put it into actual valid investment classes. So they put their money into, say, instead of spending instead of spending $200 on a Space Godzilla Death's Corona, because a bunch of these people don't have the money to move anymore, they can spend $200 on an entire fucking collector's box where they're guaranteed to get one of these, maybe more than one of these Death's Coronas to begin with. So basically what they do is they take products that they know are going to do very poorly, and they intentionally try to hype them up to get weaker people to invest into them, and then these people, their money is gone whenever the real investment opportunity comes up. And the inverse is true as well. So if you ever see something going on, like I think I touched on this in my last video, like with the mystery boosters coming out, and there was this group of people saying like, oh, they're commander repacks, there's no value in them. All of these people are essentially, they're lying and misrepresenting what the product is to try to scare the weaker people away from investing in it so they can get all the profit for themselves. I don't believe that. I would say probably 90 to 99% of the people who were talking down the mystery boosters were intentionally lying to try to force the price down. So basically, when it comes to trying to put money into something or buying something, don't put too much weight in the market noise, because for every good take and every valid piece of advice, there's also somebody sitting on the other side lying, trying to get you to waste your money so they can make more money. So at the end of the day, you can take what you want from the market, but buy what you want, buy what makes you happy, and you'll probably wind up doing better than if you try to listen to the market noise. One last aside, the MTG Finance Reddit is one of the most toxic communities I've ever seen. I made one post there telling people that the euro, for whatever reason at that point in time, was like super low on eBay. Like you could get euros on eBay for an auction about in between $30 and $33 for this period of time. There were just a bunch of them that got listed at once, and they weren't selling high. And I was letting people know to try to be nice, and I got like 30 downvotes because they were like, "Oh, it's $44 on TCG Player." Like, no shit, Sherlock. That's the point. They're going for less than that on eBay. But yeah, and then the other thing I posted to MTG Finance was some post like asking, because I'm not personally sure how to evaluate graded cards, so I posted something about like how to evaluate graded cards, and I literally got like 20 responses, all of them trolling. So as far as like investing, putting weight and stuff, stay the fuck away from the MTG Finance Reddit. Like, it is the most toxic, worthless Reddit community you could imagine. Anyway, peace out.